It's beautiful, and I like to represent the underdog. I like to say I'm the best of the worst. You got to be the best of something, baby. So as a landscaper, we represent like the grunts, the contractors, the laborers out there, but we offer a service, we offer a
Somebody
quality
has to do
stuff,
it.
so somebody's got to do it.
Welcome to Set Apart Podcast. My name is Oscar. I'm the host of the show. And today we have somebody that is in the landscape industry here in South Florida making a big impact. And he has, his own videos and his own content. And I found them, honestly, through just Instagram. And we just met, personally for the first time. But we've been friends for a few years, just supporting each other. And there's a lot of things that you do that you support in other people, like in the landscaping world. And we're going to talk about that. But we're welcoming Paul Capote from PGL, keeping it fresh. So welcome to the show.
That's right, keeping it fresh. Thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure to be here.
Have you been on a podcast before?
Beautiful spot. Yeah, I love podcasts. I've been on a few.
Nice.
This is quite an elegant one for sure. And like I told you, I was experimenting with one myself, but it's in the garage, just like with an American flag in the back, and that's about it. You guys went all out, really professional.
Well, listen, we're a construction company, so we have like a tad bit of a benefit. But if not, we'll probably be in our garage too. So
it's all good. Beautiful.
Paul, tell me about yourself.
So, I guess a little background on myself and the business. It's super funny that you had you have your podcast going. I heard your story, and I was like, man, this is really relatable. A lot of us, I guess you want to call entrepreneurs or whatnot. We have a very similar, youth. We were very hyper kids. At least I'm still hyper, but yeah, very hyper kids, and probably putting my attention in things I shouldn't, distracting myself. So at an early age, I was like trying to find, put some money in my pocket. Like you said, my pops did a similar thing. He helped me with my first lawnmower. And I had done like some pressure cleaning too, and little stuff like that. Like the landscaping was just kind of like initially was just to make some extra money after school. Like I'll cut grass like after school and stuff like that. My dad was just happy that I wasn't getting in trouble, so that worked out through the years. And next thing you knew, I had a couple employees, 2-3 trucks. So I enjoyed having that freedom of being able to build something at such a young age. I was like 19 already with 3 employees, and by 21 I had multiple employees, which was cool. Definitely, I still have guys now, obviously, but like at that age, it's just like a journey. Like it's an exciting thing, So people would always ask me like, what's my hobby? My hobby is building my business. So I do enjoy traveling and stuff like that, but I'm like a workaholic, that's what I enjoy doing, is like building something. My wife, which I've been with, I've been married to her for 3-4 years now, but I've been with her for like 10 years, and she's helped me along the way, kind of with the back end, because I'm like the grunt worker, kind of like I like being in the field. And then she'll help me with keep everything together, So, and then now to date, we're a maintenance company, landscape design company. We help with, just upgrading your landscape. We bring like this modern rock look. We are growing plants now. So things, always trying to evolve and grow. So I'm very thankful to be here. Thanks to social media, then.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Because I would like to say I was like stagnant for like a long period of time before social media. I felt like I was alone and not necessarily learning as fast as I could have been. And then social media, I started really taking advantage of it more, and then meeting very successful people, and they're just people that are going through the same stuff. Not even just successful, just like people going through the same things. Here we are on a podcast, So great connection, like yourself, contracting, stuff like that, which is great. We could connect all the dots, through social media.
Essentially, we do the same thing. We're just people that, nobody really gave us anything. You know, they gave me a pressure cleaner, they gave you a lawnmower. And I think that from the first time I ever, you know, found that out, I felt that there's so much similarities because it's a different type of part of the industry. But at the end of the day, we're out there just, you know, busting our ass for our family and trying to grow this business. And we really, we like make the best out of it. You know, one of the things that you put in your bio is like, we're in the trenches, you know, you're always in the trenches. Why do you enjoy being in the trenches? And what he means is like, you know, being out there. You're like, because one thing is to have a landscape company and your trucks are running, you know, and they're cutting the grass, but the owner's not really out there. But you are really, you know, in there and you're actually in the actual trenches and putting in that grunt work.
Involved, yeah.
Which you may not even need to do, but you do.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
At this stage, I am like training guys, so I'm like, I could easily say, hey, the guys know what they're doing and leave them alone, and then, you know, they could reach certain expectations, you know. But expectations is a big deal, like on, you know, getting yourself upset, you know. So like you could be like, oh, these guys, they didn't do this and this right, but what are your expectations, you know? So right now I have a pretty young crew and they're really good, but I like to be there to make sure certain tasks, you know, get done until they can go and spread their wings. And certain tasks, you know, I let them do, you know, I definitely trust them. It's just, you know, the experience that I've had with certain projects, you know, applies to what, you know, the whole project, just like anything, you know, experience.
Let me ask you a question, because one of the things that you like harp on the most, and one of the things you have is like the Landscape Brotherhood.
Yes.
You know, and it's like it's very special, to be honest with you, because you know in this city there's so much competition and there's so much like people like going back and forth, and I feel like you've like brought everybody kind of together in the Landscape Brotherhood. You know, it has its own Instagram, but talk to me about that, because I feel that that's something that really sets you apart.
For sure, thank you. It's just getting that community going. I did see the example from some of the guys up north, central, like the mid states, like they're actually pretty separated too. But I've met some guys from Ohio, from Michigan, and then I saw like they would like host events and all this stuff, and they were like so tight in their community, and they're teaching each other and lifting each other up, and you know, I'm sure there's courses and stuff that involve, but the reality is they're kind of bringing each other up. So I try to bring a little bit of that to the South Florida table, and people would always say, yeah, that construction or landscaping, everyone's all cutthroat. And the reality that most of the younger guys are super open and we're all going through the same stuff. So I was like, somebody's got to do it. Kind of back to like what you were asking about in the trenches.
Yeah.
It's like, somebody's got to do it. You know, like the same when I started landscaping, I was like, that's hard. It's like, well, somebody's got to do it. It's just like one of my earliest memories in going to school. Nothing against school teachers, but you probably remember hearing, oh, the trash guy makes more than the teacher. You know, oh, but why? You know, it's like somebody's got to do it. You know, somebody's got to take out the trash. Now they got it good. They press a little button and stuff. But but back then, you know, like somebody's got to do it. And just to go, it applies to any job. You know, that could be really tough for someone, and you know, to us, it's just another day in paradise. You know, so it's definitely physically demanding. That's something that I talk about a lot, like trying to pull through mentally and physically, because you could be,
it's hot out there.
Yeah, you could be the entrepreneur that, you know, works indoors. Cool. That's one challenge. But now you add a physical challenge to it. You have to keep the whole business running while you're, you know, out there in the elements, you know, and helping the guys, and your energy level is going to be affected, you know. So the whole trenches thing, you know, if you want to go like deep, you know, to me, I'm like, I like to like talk like primitive. Like we were supposed to be out here, like for thousands of years, we've been outside lifting stuff. All of a sudden it's hard for people, you know, so like I enjoy that. And I just, you know, make the best out of it, you know, because I see landscaping as an art. So yeah, it's got the labor side, but to me it's art.
No, and you show it, because a lot of these people that a lot of your clients, you actually design a lot of their landscape. Because one thing is to just plant the trees and it be very transactional, but you're out here, you know, drawing, illustrating. Now you're doing like 3D renders, where, you know, that may be maybe common to you and some of the people in the Landscape Brotherhood, but it's not really common in, you know, in the landscaping maintenance community, because a lot of these people, they're just there to, you know, cut the grass and leave. Sometimes they just blow it right into the hedges and keep going.
Gotta set apart.
Yeah.
Really good plug for that. And that's all it really is. Like what you said about the Miami landscaper tag, we got to set apart. There's so many landscapers. Initially, when I first, when I was like 16, 17, trying to make a buck, I was like, there's too many landscapers, right? Why would I want to be a landscaper? And then eventually I started slowly leaning towards it. And I went through that, like, the competition. And then I was like, okay, then what, we got to set apart, we got to stand out. So I started doing more design, more designs, the Instagram. People, want someone that's maybe relatable or just someone that they know, family. Like some people want to genuinely support a small business. So you're there and that helps. What you said about the drawings, people will send a quote and just hope the client understands what they're telling them.
They have no idea.
Yeah, or like the names of the plants. Like you start naming plants, it sounds like you're casting a spell and stuff. Like, so if you really know your plants, you could overwhelm someone, So implementing,
break it down.
Yeah, keep it simple, and the drawings have helped. And I have plenty of clients that tell me, I have a guy that cuts my grass, but he's not going to touch my landscaping. He's not going to design this.
He's not going to upgrade it or clean it up.
And they'll ask him a few questions, and they'll be like, no, this guy, they'll say, they're maybe willing to help, but they'll say, hey, what type of plants do you want? And so that's already a red flag. Like the client doesn't know what plants they want. They want that.
How do you think your pricing is compared to other people? Like, are you like the same kind of pricing as the other people? If you provide a better service? Yeah,
I've been told like I'm feeling that happy medium, so I kind of like where I'm at the particular moment. Like, obviously we'll always grow up and down, but we have encountered some clients where they want a really nice landscape, so they'll call the top dogs on Google or whatever it is, and they'll call like this really big company and charge maybe double or triple the amount, but maybe out of their range. And then I'll come in, or besides that, there'll be another guy that doesn't know much, and they kind of gives those like, hey, you buy the plants and I'll just dig them kind of, and then that'll be like the different low opposite price, cheap,
and you're like in the middle.
So I try to, not that I try, I'm like, that's what I've found myself, finding some clients that want to make a decent landscape, but they're not like, okay, I have $100,000.
No, I see some of your work, like it's, again, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're not like Coco Plum or like Gables Brothers. Like, they're just normal Miami people, hardworking people. They're like, man, I want a nice little landscaping, and I don't want to spend a ton of money.
A lot of law enforcement. I've done a lot of work with firefighters and stuff. Just hardworking people, I have some of the 1%ers, like it would be great. And that's a whole realm within itself, because people think that they're charging all this money, but it's volume. So I could charge a certain rate because I'm charging 10 Green Island ficus, right? And I'll charge, let's say, 5 times the amount someone just did to do 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
So once you start changing those volume, like the changes. Price has to also kind of make sense. So it's very interesting how that works, because if you got to go somewhere for 10 plants, you would have to charge for those 10 plants.
Which is what we were talking about before.
10,000 of them, then
it's different.
So,
but what we were talking about before is like even in our industry, like it's sometimes bigger doesn't mean that it's harder. It's just more volume.
Just more of it.
It's just more of it. You started the company. How long ago did you start the company, PGO? 2009. So how was that process of starting it, the actual company? Because you were mentioning before that you never worked for a landscaper before. You never really like were under the wing or the mentorship of somebody. You kind of just did it. How was that, and what are the lessons learned that you went through? Yes, definitely. So very, like we say in Spanish, a los coñazos, right? Yeah. A los coñazos. I don't necessarily recommend. You said 2009? Yeah. So it's like 14 years I've been landscaping, bro. That's crazy. Yeah. It's like. Hold on, wait. How do you feel about being a landscaper before you answer the question? Like, if somebody tells you, what do you do for a living? You're like, oh, I'm a landscaper. How does that make, like, talk to me about that? Yeah. So that alone is a big battle too, like fighting for landscapers, speaking for landscapers, and that's one of the reasons why I've stepped up my dress code and everything, like this persona that it's like, I'm tired of people imaging a landscaper as like, oh, that guy that's just like, oh, they're going to help us with the lawn, like
No, I'm a landscaper that knows about plants and how to make a beautiful design and who's going to be in charge of your drainage project. And there's a lot that goes into it than just cut it. Also, the funniest is like when people are like, oh, the grass must be growing really good. I was like, I don't want to cut grass, man. I'm not worried about the rain, man. It's like people think that just like landscaper cuts grass. Yeah, it's like, yes, we cut grass, but there's like so many realms to that. So trying to definitely clean up the image of landscapers. I always tell them like, like dress fresh, man, because then, we already have it hard as it is where people are, we not that we have a stigma, but
We have a stigma.
yeah. So you want to look presentable, don't wear just like a raggedy shirt, wear your uniform. It's all, the Calusia is going to stain it or whatever, but it's uniform or whatever. So all those little things, they do matter.
And that's something that I think it's awesome that you're kind of like spearheading that and leading these people, because it's something big that you're doing kind of like in your industry that they probably wouldn't have been doing if it wasn't for you, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Have people given you that feedback?
I'm like, that's why I was like, yo, nice boots. I had to like check out the boots while we're both wearing boots.
You think I was gonna have you on the podcast and I bring my boots? Listen, you should have seen me getting the boots at the top, and the cleaning lady was at the house and she was cleaning the windows, so she was using a ladder. But I kept trying to do it, and then when I got it, bro, my boots, my wife's boots, and all of our other boots fell on my head, and I was like, bro,
there you go, there you go.
But I even brought my. Well, these are Abercrombie,
so that's one thing. Homestead used to be all cowboy hats and cowboy boots, and now it's Lennar.
Yeah.
So but I grow plants. I'm a landscaper. There's still that agriculture vibe down there. So it's like trying to keep that alive. So so far everyone's respectful about it. It's like I think it does set the standard though. If you're gonna charge higher and you're gonna claim that you're gonna do the best job, and you show up with like a beat up truck or rental equipment and stuff like that, or the rental equipment's not a big a deal, but like just you gotta look the par, if you're gonna be charging a significant price.
Yeah, especially that there's a lot of competition that their trucks like don't even have a name, like.
Yeah, I always love taking a picture that's like, call me, and then like the numbers erased off of the truck. Like,
so we were talking before about you starting the company and the lessons learned. So I wanted to go back to that because I think there's a lot of people that are like you and maybe can benefit from it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to say that the mentor is a huge deal. Once the more connected I was with my mentors, the faster I would grow. The times that I wasn't with a mentor, I was just stagnant and I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, which I probably wasn't. I was just working to work, and it turns into that vicious cycle where there's just more lawns to cut, or there's always another job, but you're not really like
there's no real growth.
Yeah, exactly. So once I really started to dial in on mentorship, that really changed a lot of perspective on my numbers and how I wrote a contract. Like it goes many ways. A great example, like what we were speaking about earlier, you worked for a construction company and then you started your own construction company. I just went right in, and to me it was just fun, but it became to a point when I was young it was fun, and then I started becoming an adult and pay bills, and then it's like, okay, can't lose money on this. Like I just can't.
Yeah.
So that reality check hits harder,
The reality that I worked for a company for like a construction company for 5 years before opening the company, even though we do very different jobs because they're much larger, that was like invaluable. That's something that really was a big asset. So for you to not have done that, it was like you made the game even harder.
I did, definitely. Like I tell people, how long you been in business? 14 years. You think about like millionaire 10 times already. Like
people right now think you're like 20 years old. It's like guys start cutting guys at 6.
That's funny as heck. But that's one thing I could advise. Don't be scared to reach out to someone that you might think is like, oh, that's the big dog, or that's guy's not gonna pay any attention. Like that's what I did. I was like, hey man, like love your stuff or whatever, and then I'll go to an event or whatnot, and we'll stay connected. And And nowadays, I've met some really quality people just from just reaching out. Hey, love your stuff, like, and how we're here now.
Yeah.
So it's a good example. Exactly.
Talk about support. I know your wife has been a big support. Talk to me about your wife and the support that she's done.
Definitely.
And played a role in your company.
For sure. Big help. Just like I said, I've been with her like 10 years. So one of the biggest deals in the early stages is she wanted to help. And I was like, okay, that's a girl that I'm interested in, someone that cares about my business, So, many girls want, see what you can give them. And it's like, hey, she's offering help. So it's been a great journey learning that because, she's not an accountant and she's not a landscape administrator, we just learning with me, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing really. I have her as that support, because it could be very tough in business in the field, so you have someone that's there that's going to be like, obviously a good wife would say, hey, it's going to be all right, keep going, because some people get caught up with not such of a good wife, and then it makes the situation even harder. So I'm very thankful that my wife's been nothing but supportive, because it's been really, really tough. So she'll always, hey, push through, you're good, you'll figure it out, we'll be all right. So that's definitely a big part of it. If you can find yourself a partner that's gonna bring you up, maybe that's a keeper.
You're talking about a lot of difficult things that you got through. What are some things that you face that people really don't realize that you have to go through?
Well, people see the trucks and all the jobs and all that and think that, I'm crushing it or whatever. So like, whenever I hop on a podcast, I'm like, hey, if you made it this far, like, I'm getting my ass kicked, guys. Like, it's not as easy as it looks, So like, obviously we portray a very positive image on the, I'm not going to be like sob story, but like, paying all these bills at the same time and doing the jobs and making sure your guys are all on the same page. And then one guy tells you he is going to stick with you for long term. And then like 2 weeks later, he's like, hey, by the way, I'm moving. And it's like, those little things, people don't see over an Instagram reel or video. So
yeah, the struggle of actually running the business.
Yeah.
And not just, landscaping or doing things in the trenches, like you said.
There's so many things that you could plan for. This happens to me all the time. I'm like planning. Like let me get this, game plan going for the guys. And then hours later, or maybe the next morning or something, either the machine or the guy or whatever, the route, the client says, hey, the roofer's here and you got to go the other, come a different day. So those type of things always have you on your toes. So it's not for the faint-hearted, So I always say, like, if you are trying to be like, hey, I want to start a landscaping business, like, really study the industry and it's not easy. It's not easy. Have the proper equipment. I did a job. Every time I use that little machine, the MT, the little Bobcat,
right.
Every time I use, I'm like, what the heck was I doing before I owned this thing? Like,
that saves your life.
Yeah,
we got to show that as
we have to be
B-roll.
effective. Yeah, that B-roll, bro, for sure. Very effective.
Because it really makes you so much more efficient. It's crazy. Like it's.
Yeah, no, I sit there and thinking all the year, like
you dragging
years,
the big log.
Like it's like, oh, what the heck was I doing? Irma.
Yeah.
People made big money during Irma, but I was so scared to own a machine. Like, oh, I'm here thinking about I'm gonna ruin people's lawn when I go over the machine. So like that's what I was worried about. I'm gonna have to replace their lawn. Like
you're like, bro, I'll buy you the pallet.
Yeah, exactly. Like what is it? Like a little strip. Like it's worth the time on the job. Let's say it is a half a pallet.
Yeah.
Like what's half a pallet versus like the efficiency on the job. So I was like,
You've
things like
so
that. A
much,
mentor will guide you and say, hey, no, like
no, you just figure it out.
Math wrong.
Are you always who in your family is like positive and like super? Because you seem like you can only fake so much. How do you?
Both my parents are an amazing couple. They're both together, still living together 30-something years. My dad's a jokester. He's a clown. He's always messing around. And my mom's just very positive in general. She was always very in the early stage when I bought my first weed whackers. I gotta say, she was like, "What the heck is this?" But after that, she's always been.
You mean that her son is not gonna be a lawyer? Is gonna be cortando hierba? She wasn't thrilled.
Chapeando.
That's hilarious. So we talked about the services you provide, the design, actually, planting and maintenance. You have also, I feel like you have a lot of things. Which is great.
The design really is what.
But the nursery, right?
Yeah.
So you have your own nursery. How was the jump into? Because very few nurseries also do landscaping and maintenance and stuff like that. How was the jump to that? And what triggered you to do that?
Thank you. Well, back to my pops, I guess. Like both of them are very positive, and my dad's an entrepreneur as well. He's a aviation mechanic. He had his business for as long as I can remember. So I would always see him calling the shots, paying out the guys, writing the checks. So that was always subconscious in my head. Like, that's the man, like my dad pays everybody,
Yeah.
So it's like, that was like my normal. So I was like, okay, that was my enjoyment. So I had that background. And my dad would always, one of the reasons why I was passionate of landscaping was my dad would always talk about his hometown and La Finquita, the farm, and the animals. He's Venezuelan, but it was, my mom was from the city and my dad was from like the pueblo. It was like funny. They're like opposites. But my dad would always talk about respect plants. We would grow like little oregano. Like we didn't have a big old yard, like super little like small yard. But my dad would like make a hydroponics to grow like strawberries and all these, always respecting plants. And because of my grandma grew a nursery. So she raised like 8 kids through a plant nursery. So fast forward, no one in my family has nurseries. No one, like there's one of my aunts that does do donation work. So she plants trees like, for a good cause. But no one took on no nurseries, nothing like that, no agriculture at all. All of them went to be doctors and lawyers. I'm like, all this was fun. All these doctors and lawyers were funded by a nursery lady,
Yeah.
My grandma. So the COVID boom, everybody was like selling plants. Everyone's like, oh, the freaking nurseries are selling out. I gotta have a nursery. And I saw the connection between having the landscape design and having the nursery. So I gave that a shot. It's one of those things where you you manifest. You want to manifest. You want to speak it into existence. And some opportunity came by where I met this gentleman, and we he had like this little lot there, and I maintained the property. I maintained his house. He's like, you're good there. And so we worked that out, and it's already fast forward. It's already been 3 years we've been growing plants, and now I'm at the phase where I'm like, okay, we really like it. It was fun. Like it was fun, and it's fun. You have to love agriculture, but when I first was filling up the nursery, I was just trying to fill the nursery, fill it
Filling
up.
it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like, now you're cutting back.
Yeah, not necessarily like that I don't want to fill it up, but more strategic. Before it was just like, let's fill it up so we have like a nice filled nursery, and we've been using a bunch of the plants and stuff. But I'm recently partnered it up with this guy, Santiago. His name's Colombia. Well, I call him Colombia, and he's super knowledgeable with plants. So it's like I had a batch of plants that was like, it needed more attention. So I'm like, I can't keep investing into this if it's gonna like die or look yellow, and it's gotta look 100%. And so I'm just like everything. You can't just see something like, I want to do that. Like everything is work. So
A lot of lesson learned.
Exactly, another lesson learned, right? So and I love the nursery. I'm keeping that going. We're going more for the cocoa plum now, native stuff. But just implementing new things like better soil, certain systems, placements.
Everything.
Yeah, it goes on and on. So at first it was like kind of for fun, like nice, I got a nursery. Now it's like, okay, this is costing me a lot of fucking money. So it's got to be right. So it's super cool, and so like some of the videos like I sent you, like the mornings at the nursery are priceless. Like I don't want to leave.
That sunrise that you sent me
like,
today was amazing.
Leave. And then I got jobs to do out there in the real world.
Yeah.
You want to just be planning there quiet, but it's nice. It's nice. Very.
So what's
nice.
the goal? Because like you seem like a go getter. Which, by the way, one of the reasons that I love bringing guests here is that we find out so much. Like I think that I know these people, and I don't know nothing about them. So to hear about like your grandmother and like, because at the end of the day, nobody's helping you. You're doing the risk, but you're doing it like almost to keep her legacy going through your own works. I think that's why I do a lot of what I do, is to keep the legacy, or even to create a legacy.
Yeah, man. No, that's all we got, man. We gotta really like leave our name, stand in, our kids and kids, a generation. That's what my grandma did. She's highly respected throughout the family. It's not just like, oh, grandma. Like, no,
Yeah,
it's
she's a
like
matriarch.
she was like, the grandma. So it's beautiful, and I like to represent the underdog. I like to say, I'm the best of the worst. You got to be the best of something, baby. So, as a landscaper, we represent like the grunts, the contractors, the laborers out there. But we offer a service, we offer a
Somebody
quality
has to do
stuff.
it.
So somebody's got to do it. So it's like we were messing around earlier. It's like, you've had like mayors and commissioners on here. Like, what was it? A heart surgeon. He created like a heart device. I'm like, man, I'm after this guy, man. This is crazy.
You're like, listen, but we have nice credentials here.
But no, I'm happy to
So what's
represent
the goal?
the industry.
What's the goal for you and your business and just holistically and your whole brand?
Yeah, no, thank you. So, before you'd be like, oh, I want all these trucks. Like, no. Like, now I'll be happy with 3 teams, maybe 3-4 teams, and but very high skilled crew where we could provide like, some high end landscapings and stuff. I'm really not trying to go like the next Brightview, 100 trucks. Like, I'm really not trying to deal with that. It's like, I think
We can if you want to.
right, yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
You let me know.
Right, let's do it. But more of like a selective thing. Like, you called us because you know who we are. You called us not because you're looking for the lowest bidder. You called us because you've seen our work and you know what we're capable of. So once I started really doing the landscape designing, which was really after 2019, I built a reputation for design, not grass cutting. Because the grass cutting is just like, oh, just a long guy. You need a grass cut, call Paul, whatnot. But after 2018, 2019, I really started experimenting with the landscape designs and the planting, the rocks. COVID came, and then everybody wanted their pool done and all that. So the landscape goes tied along with all those things. So the beautiful part about that is that 4 or 5 years down the line, doing quote unquote mainly landscape designs, I get the repeat clients. They'll call me back again. The referrals are like it's compounding. It's compounding. So I am seeing those effects, and it's really nice when that client will call you once. If a client calls me once a year, I'm happy. Because you're doing a decent job for them, and you'll be back next Christmas or whatever it is. So that's the goal, really, to build that reputation where it's like I don't really have to justify so much of my price. They know what
Your value,
what we do.
In your bio on Instagram, you put you're not your average landscaper. What do you think sets you apart from other from maybe the other competitors, but more the stigma of what a landscaper is?
Yeah, the passion.
Because you wrote that in your bio for a reason.
Not your average landscaper. Yeah, the passion really. We genuinely enjoy being outdoors with the plants and creating this. I consider myself an artist. When as a kid, I would draw and I would paint on stuff, and I still like make stuff out of wood. So it's my way of expressing my artistic touch to landscape, So I definitely enjoy that, and I'm not scared to tell a client that, like, they're wrong. Like, I want red mulch. It's like, no, you don't. You don't want red mulch. So it's like I'll be that one client to be like, you've been doing red mulch for 20 years. Like, it's no more. Like, and it works. So people are like, okay, if you say that someone's gonna make fun of me at the next family party for having red mulch, then I don't want.
Or better said, if you change it, they'd be like, "Wow, this looks really nice." Because there's those small details that really make a big difference.
Some people don't care. You want red mulch? You want red mulch? And I'm like, no, we gotta set a standard,
All right, listen, we're gonna do rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Here, you can drink a little bit of your Yingling there.
Let's do it. Yes.
All right, here we go. Try to answer them as quickly as possible. There's some people that come on the podcast and take like 30 minutes to answer your question. Okay? Sorry for the other people. Just rapid fire. All right. These are big.
Good. I'm impulsive, so I'm ready, man. I hope I don't screw this one up.
Your favorite plant?
My favorite plant, Podocarpus.
Favorite palm?
Canary.
Oh, wow. Most underrated plant.
Underrated. Damn, this is like plants are just thousands. Damn. It's good. Underrated. Agave, baby, agave.
Yeah, that's it. Most overrated plant.
Overrated. Calusia.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Yeah, with the sunrise at the nursery is like, it was super nice, man.
Sunrise, yeah.
Your
Nice
go-to
start.
drink.
Yingling.
Oh, there you go. Look, right here. Favorite place you like to visit?
Locally or?
Wherever you want.
Yeah, I like to take at least one trip a year with my wife. We do this. We've been going to it's called Together in the Trade. So a little pitch to them, and it's mostly landscapers, and they host this event and they change it every year. So it was in Montana, it was in Tennessee, and this recently it was in the Bahamas. So,
cool.
so wherever they're going, I'm going.
What's it called?
Together in the Trades.
Together in the Trades. Listen, we really appreciate you being on the show. We've had a lot of different people throughout this podcast, and one thing that's been consistent is that everybody that's been on the episode is just, they're hardworking people that serve our community, but you do it in a different way. And like you said, you're not your average landscaper. And you didn't come, you're not you're not like your other people in your family, a doctor or a surgeon. Like you said, I'm
Just let's go. The best of the worst, baby.
the best of the worst. But like you said, somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people like you and a lot of people like in the Landscaping Brotherhood play a big role in it. And if landscaping were to be eliminated, I think that people would realize how important landscaping is.
Yeah.
And I love landscaping. I love plants. I love orchids. It's probably my number one hobby is plants, and it's something that I appreciate, especially in construction. We can do the most beautiful building, and it's incredibly beautiful after you put landscaping, and then it's even nicer when you put landscape lighting. So I think landscaping is extremely underrated, and I appreciate you being on the show, and hopefully somebody can call you and you can.
Thank you.
Go in
No,
the trenches in their house.
That's right. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It was a big deal. Thank you. Now you gotta have a passion, man. You gotta have passion what we do, and it's not easy. So you just gotta keep grinding and stand out.
Absolutely.
Set apart, baby.
Well, I hope you guys were blessed by the show. Everybody has their own story, be it a heart surgeon creating medical device, maybe you're an attorney, or maybe just somebody that has a landscaping company and a nursery. It's important that whatever you do, you set yourself apart, you to be the best at it, and you make an impact, and most importantly, you create a legacy so that your kids' kids and your whole family can grow, and you can leave something better when we're all gone. So we'll catch you on the next one.